Welcome to Money is a Mind Game with JP Tatum, where we talk about everything from personal finance to investing. We're going to get into it today. I have a very special guest, ThatGuyRy, coming to you live. I don't know why I keep saying that.
What?
Anyway, basically we're just going to interview. We're just going to have like a real live session. He's going to ask whatever questions he might have. Hopefully it's the same questions that some of you are out here asking yourself. And then I'll just be the expert on it. So,
what's up?
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Good to see you,
Good
be
to
with
see
you, all that good stuff.
Good to be here.
So tell me, like, I guess let's relate it to age. I hate to do that, but in some cases it makes sense. A lot of people your age just graduated high school, and most people say, I don't know if I'm coming or going. I mean, in my line of work, I am a financial consultant, for those of you who don't know. So I do retirement consultations. I do retirement plans. I help people get their personal finances together, figure out a strategy for how they should be invested based on when they say they want to retire. And when I think back to how old I was when I first started learning this stuff, I was just like, dang, why didn't anybody tell me this shit sooner? You know? So my passion is to just do any and everything I can to give the game to you guys, because I don't want you to ever be out here saying, well, nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever told me. So, I mean, if I'm thinking, okay, you just graduated high school. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, some of y'all are doing the college thing. Some of you are doing the entrepreneur thing. Some of you guys are doing a vocational thing. I don't really care what you're doing, but we all have the same goal in mind: making money.
Just want to make the
Just want to make some money. So, you know, what kind of questions do you have, or did you have, you know, before you graduated high school, or maybe even right now?
Okay. I had a lot of questions about credit. Didn't really know much what credit was, how that worked. Mom kind of instilled some a little bit of knowledge about credit, but not too much. So that was one of the main things. Once I got that kind of steered me in the right direction when it comes to finance. A question that I have right now really is just how do I get started? What do I really need to get started? What would be the best route? Because you hear about a lot of these successful people, and a lot of them say like, oh, if I would have started at your age, then I would have been this.
Yeah.
But it's like, what does that mean? Like, how do I start at my age?
Okay. I love that. Okay. So the answer to that question is actually quite easy, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because a lot of you right now are you working?
Yes.
Okay, so you're working. Does your company offer a 401k or any kind of like retirement plan?
Yep.
Okay, good. That's typically what most adults, like older people, mean when they say, I wish I would have started at your age. Because typically this is what we do. We go to school. Some of us start working in high school or right after. And the whole time we did all that work, we never saved a dime. We were basically just trying to survive. Or when we had extra money, we thought, oh, well, I paid my bills so I can spend it. But nobody taught us about investing. And in our heads, we made up that, you know, I got to have a lot of money to invest. So can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend it on these shoes.
Yeah.
That just makes logical sense, right? So basically, what most people mean that are older when they say that to younger cats is, hey, man, if I had a company that had a 401k plan, I would have started saving in it. Okay. If my company doesn't have a 401k, I could have created an IRA. An IRA, guys, is an acronym for individual retirement account. So there's no such thing as a joint IRA. It's just an individual retirement account. And there's two types. There's a traditional and there's a Roth. A traditional IRA means that the money that goes in is pre-tax. Pre means before. I mean, you all graduated high school. You know what pre means. Pre means before. So a Roth IRA is after tax. So what do I mean by that? That sounds crazy. What are you talking about, JP? when you get your check and it says gross, that is your pre-tax income. That's the money that you would have made before taxes. So when I say you save on a pre-tax basis, I'm basically saying that gross amount, the amount that you're saving is coming out of there. Okay? Roth means after taxes. So the net, like the amount you get to spend, that's already been taxed. So what you got left is what you got. That's called after tax. Because after everything came out, this is what you're left with. So that's what I mean by after tax. So what most cats your age should be doing, seriously, is opening up a Roth IRA. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Why? Because right now, you make whatever you make. You can save up to like $5,500 a year in that thing. If you just kept putting money in that thing and did nothing else, yo, when you retire and you get to take that money out, so you got to be like 59 and a half or whatever. You'll be 59 and a half. Oh, and you had to have it for 5 years to take the money out with no penalty or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you do that. You take the money out when you're retired, but you take it out tax-free. That's the power of a Roth. You put the money in already. You already paid taxes on it. And when you go to take it out, you get your money plus the growth tax-free. There's no other instrument, period, that you can do that. So when old folks tell you young cats, yo, if I would have started when I was your age, that's what they mean. Because you could be, in real life, bro, you can be 65, whatever it is, when you take that money out and take it out tax-free. Your $100 turned into $100,000 turned into $1 million. Who would not want $1 million tax-free right now? Come on, man.
I don't know.
So that's what I'm talking about. So when you saving your 401k at work, that's lit too. Because your company usually will match you something. Does your company have a match?
Yep.
All right, cool. What is it?
About 5% match.
Okay, cool. So all that means, folks, is for every dollar that he puts in, the company puts in up to 5% of whatever he makes. So that's how that stuff works when you hear a match. And that's cool because it's free money. You didn't have to do anything except contribute to your own retirement. Beautiful. So if you start young, then you don't really have to go higher than that. And that's what they're talking about, bro. Like, you put 5% in or 7% in, even if you stayed at that for the rest of your life, the fact that you started at 18 gives you a hell of an advantage. But here's what happens. Most of you niggas don't do that shit. Oops. Okay. Then
bleep that out.
Right? Most of y'all don't do that shit. And then when you're like 25 and you feel like you're enlightened and shit, then you're like, oh, I should save for my retirement. But you don't. Then you get a girlfriend. Maybe you got a kid by now, unfortunately or unfortunately, however it goes down. And now instead of starting at 5%, you have to start at 10 or 15 because you now have to play catch up. So now you got to stay at 10 or more every year because, I mean, you're starting at this point now. So it's really ridiculous to think like, oh, I want to retire early, but I want to save the least amount of money. It's like that's more possible if you start early. If you start early, you could get away with saving 5 or 7% or something like that. Period. Because you got like 30 or 40 years for it to keep building up. But I'm telling you, if you don't do it that way, you know, just be prepared to save a whole lot more when you're making more. Yeah, and it's not sexy because you... Man, I could go on for days on that. What are some other questions you have, though?
I really want to get a car soon.
Okay.
And I do want to own a home someday.
All right.
I know both of those things, you know, you have to have good credit for. Mm-hmm. I know at my job I do have the option to open a Roth IRA there.
Okay.
So that's good. I looked over it today, but because I didn't really know what it was. Mm-hmm. But I'll make sure I contribute something there or open that up or something.
Definitely. Well, I was waiting for a question, but since there wasn't, I know you want to own a home and you want a car.
Yeah, I really want to own. I want to own a home soon. Not soon, but like, yeah, in my 20s, I definitely want to own a home.
I'll tell you this. When it comes to like buying property, I think that everybody should say fuck buying a house and get an income property first. That's my personal stance. That makes sense to me. You want to be the kind of person that has assets. Assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money out your pocket. A house, a personal residence, that's a liability, period. Even if you bought the thing cash, you got to pay property taxes every year, like clockwork. Still costs you money. Oh, by the way, some shit breaks, you got to pay for that. So buying a house is more than just signing up for the mortgage. You got to be able to afford the house, the whole thing, right? So in a perfect world, smart money will get some income producing assets first. What's an income producing asset, JP? A rental property. Buy a house by all means, but don't live in it. You buy the first house, you put somebody in that thing, have them pay the mortgage. You make the extra. If the mortgage is $500, rent's $1,500. You pocket the $1,000. And then when you decide you want to buy a house, let's say your house now, the one you live in, let's say your mortgage is $500. Well, one of your assets pays that mortgage. So now you've made your house an asset. Mm-hmm. Versus that money coming out of your pocket from the jump in the first place. And you stuck with that for 30 years. For what? You might as well buy an asset first. Doesn't make sense to buy liabilities, then go and buy assets. Like, if you can help it, if you're young, smart like yourself, you buy assets first, and you let the liabilities take care of themselves. You want a new whip? Get a rental property. Your car note $200. The extra coming off of that mortgage is $200. That pays for your car. You know, but you want to change your mindset from being a consumer to being an owner. You want to be a big business owner or an investor. Yeah. You don't want to be in the E and I quadrant, the E or S quadrant. If we're talking about the 4 quadrants, you draw like a, what do they call it? Like tic-tac-toe? Mm-hmm. Not even tic-tac-toe. What is it?
Like a T.
Yeah, there you go. Like a T chart. On the left side, you got the employee who trades time for money. You got the S, which is the self-employed dude who basically owns a job. And then on the right side of the quadrant, you have the big business guy who creates systems. And then you have the I for the investors. The B and the I side, those are the people that are smart money, right? They buy assets and the assets pay for their liabilities. So it's a wash for them. When you're young, I would say that's the biggest piece of like, yo, if somebody would have told me, that's it right there. Because you can be patient. You can stack your paper. Your credit is good because you don't have any, so you start building it up. You can keep it great. Get what you want to get. Qualify for a loan. Get a mortgage. Boom. But you make it a rental property. Mm-hmm. And you get a rental property, and then you get your own property. Or if you really want to be smart, you get like a duplex or a fourplex. Live in one of those things. Rent out the other 3. Boy, you living rent free.
But in order to own those properties first, you'd have to, get a mortgage out on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You still getting a mortgage. What makes you a powerful man is you're not the one paying it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So you look for a fourplex in your neighborhood that's in a good, decent neighborhood, that you wouldn't mind living in. And as a man that's building his wealth, you live in one of the units. You don't need to tell them that you're the owner because you don't want those kind of problems. You just pretend like you know the owner, like, oh, I just know the guy. They don't need to know you own it. That's another podcast. But bottom line is, you live in a fourplex now. So let's say your mortgage, because by the way, guys, I don't know if you know, but to qualify for a single family residence, mm-hmm. It's the same if it's a fourplex. Up to a fourplex, it's the same amount of financing. It's no different. The process is literally the same.
There's no like different requirements?
No. Only once you hit 5 units or more does it become a commercial loan. So a single family residence loan for a first time home buyer can be for one house or a fourplex.
Oh.
It's so sexy, bro. Buy yourself a fourplex. You're young. You probably could care less where you live.
Is that solely based off of credit? How do they make that judgment?
About what?
Giving you the mortgage or not?
Credit and income.
And income. Oh.
If your credit is good and you have the ability to pay, which would be income, then you will qualify for a loan.
And is it only one applicant? Can I have like multiple applicants or what?
Yeah, if you want to, like, let's say you wanted to buy it with somebody, you and your girl, you and your mom, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. But it still comes down to the same two things: credit for both of you, and the ability to pay. What's your combined income look like? Could combine you guys afford that? Okay, good. Credit wise, and be careful because it's going to be based off who has the lower score, not the highest.
Right.
So if you got a 700 and whoever this other person is has a 650, it's going to be based off the 650. So you want to make sure that you either go in it alone if you have a strong score, or you go in with another person who has a strong score. So it's kind of like a wash.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But again, painting the picture, you got you get the mortgage for $300,000. Your mortgage payment is $1,500. You got 4 units right in front of you. You charge $1,500 per unit. You live rent free, and you pocket $3,000 a month.
Sounds good.
I think so.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just the power of real estate. If you would learn to look at it that way, and those little things like you making a move like that, plus you're like killing it in your 401k. That's what makes you the shit when you're 35 or 30 years old. Nigga, I started when I was 18. I got a fourplex. That was just the first one. I got 6 of those now, and I'm 30. By the way, I also got this much in my 401k. I could walk away if I want to. I'm retired.
So once I have one mortgage on one property, I can do that as many times as I want?
Yep. There are some limits. Like, for instance, there's 10, you can get up to 10 mortgages in your name.
Oh, okay.
So if you got a partner by then they can get 10 in their name. And then after that, it gets creative. You can raise money. OPM, other people's money.
What do you mean?
So I use OPM, right? When I want to buy an apartment complex, I have a webinar or something. Anyways, the point is I'm out here and I'm going to raise the money. So there's always people that have money but don't have a clue as to how to use it, but they want someone who does, right? You now have a track record. I got 5 fourplexes. Ryan, can you invest my money for me, please? That's an OPM. You're like, absolutely. And we're going to split this cash flow.
So I'm doing it. It's going to be in their name?
Yeah, you can. It'll be in their name. Or your entity's name, ideally. It wouldn't be in anyone's name. It might be in the business's name. You and that person form an LLC. Call it Houses Inc. I don't care.
But when it comes to the requirements for the mortgage, how does an entity come into play? Like, what are you going to judge their credit score? Like, I don't get that part.
Yeah. Good question. So the entity has managing members, which would be you and this other person. So that is how it's determined.
So they're going to look at the managing members' information. Okay.
Sure. Because an entity can be created by anyone. Anyone that can afford to open one. $50 create an LLC, right? So, but I'm going to look at the managing members, and then once I acquire the asset, meaning once I buy the property, I'm going to put it in the name of the LLC. And that's a whole conversation on asset protection. But for the purposes of the listeners, we'll keep it brief. But no, these are very good questions. I think you're just kind of ahead of your time in some ways. But yeah, no, that's definitely how that would work.
Okay.
Yeah, you start early, you start making moves like that, and that's how you take charge of your life. Think about it. Like, if you was making whatever your monthly bills are, let's say you were making that in cash flow. Let's say your monthly bills are $3,000, and you're making $6,000 in cash flow because you own 3 fourplexes. I mean, what could you do with that? Whatever the fuck you want.
That's facts.
Would you need a job? Hell no.
I mean, that shit for fun.
Right. If you were now going to work because you want to, not because you have to. And that is what I'm wanting for the rest of the listeners. I just want people to know that your job is a choice. some of us love what we do. Like, I love being an investment advisor. I really do. But I would love more so if I could get more of my people free from the mindset that they have to work for money. You can make money work for you. It's not set in stone that you have to work for money. But if you don't have the right consciousness, if you don't have the right mindset, then that's what'll happen. So listen to this podcast, Money is a Mind Game, because I will help you figure out very quickly, just by listening, that it has nothing to do with how much money you make, but how you spend that money. Everything to do with how you spend that money. And it also takes some patience. You have to know what the purpose and it is of delayed gratification. You know, delayed gratification gets you W's. Kobe didn't wake up and walk into the gym and get great. He worked his ass off every practice, every game, and then he got to the NBA, and we're like, oh my God, Kobe, he didn't just get there and get great. He'd been working his ass off for his whole life, knowing that one day it would pay off. That's the kind of intensity you have to approach your finances with. Like, all right, so maybe for a month, a year, 6 months, whatever it takes, I don't care. I just know I want financial freedom, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm so fucking done with paycheck to paycheck. I'm done with the minutia. Like, what I got to do. And I'm telling you, get you a budget. Call it a financial freedom plan, because I know budget makes some people tense in the chest. Hey, call it an action plan. I don't give a fuck what you call it. Just call it good. If you can stick to your budget or your plan, you can literally create freedom for yourself. Then you have that extra money to do the things that I'm talking about right now. But you got to be willing to play the game. You want to play a big game or you want to play a small game? Like, you get to choose. So, do you have any other questions for the listeners real quick? Because I know we've been long benching on this.
No other real questions. I want to say go ahead and follow me on all social media platforms.
All right.
ThatGuyRy.
ThatGuyRy.
ThatGuy.Ry on Instagram.
All right.
And _Ry at everything else.
So ThatGuy_Ry?
Yes. _Ry on Twitter and on Twitter, really.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, type that in and you'll find me somewhere. Just find the handsome man, and that's me.
The handsome man.
Yeah.
I gotta say, guys, it's kind of true. It's kind of true. He's obsessed with himself.
Thank you.
It's fascinating.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, again, this is JP Tatum. Money is a mind game. I'm really, really, really committed to you getting something out of this content. I really, really, really just want to have everybody get present to their personal financial situation and get really empowered around the investment side of things. Especially as the Black community evolves, I really just want you to be conscious of how you spend your money. And I'm not telling you in the form of limitation, like you shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that. I just want to hopefully show you a different way to think about the things, again, that you're already doing. You're already doing it. So why not make it more profitable for yourself? All right, again, JP Tatum signing off. We'll see you on the next episode of Money is a Mind Game. Talk to you later.